Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cub Chat Live. Happy Friday. We've got one of my favorite guests, Cub Chat Mike, who is in the house. I almost called you Cub Chat Live. Cub Chat Live Mike in the house. It's going to be a really good conversation today. We are talking about packs that have experienced tremendous growth. We're not talking, you gained 3 scouts. We're talking big time growth. If that is your pack, this is the show for you. If your pack has not necessarily reached that kind of growth yet, don't be discouraged. This is still a great show for you. We're going to give you some resources that might help you get some explosive growth. And then I know that there are packs out there who are scared to experience explosive growth, so they're not putting it all in on recruitment. Let's just call it what it is. Guys, this should boost your confidence so that you can go out there and bring more wonderful scouts into the program. If your pack is growing, be sure to leave a comment. I'm about to hand it over to Cub Chat Mike, but I want to give one quick shout out to the councils that we are streaming to today, along with our magazine pages and the Boy Scouts of America page. We are on the Greater St. Louis Council page, National Capital Area, Golden Gate, Indian Nations, Daniel Webster, Atlanta area, Capital Area, I can never say this one, Narragansett. You guys need to correct me out there. Connecticut Rivers, Baltimore area, Chief Seattle, Patriots Path, Alamo area, Longhorn, Narragansett. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join the conversation. Leave comments on the page you're watching it on. If you want us to read your comments live, feel free to jump over to the Scouting Magazine Facebook page. We will be able to show your comments up on air and interact with those, but also feel free to just keep watching where you're watching and comment along. We appreciate you being here. Cub Chat Mike, I just said so much.
Gina, thank you so much. And you got it all out very quickly, and I was very impressed. But you're right. We're talking today about those packs who have had recruiting events and discovered that their pack has gone from 20 families to maybe 40, 50, or 60 families. And that is a huge increase in membership. So I have titled the little presentation we're going to make today as follows. My pack membership has exploded. Now what do I do? So in this episode, we're going to talk about things to focus on immediately when you have a lot of new families joining all at once. And next week, we're going to talk about how to deal with some of the more long-term growing pains that come when your pack grows overnight. Okay, so here's the situation. You have a pack with 20 families, and they just did an event, and 50 new families have joined. So now you have a pack of 70 families. What should you do first? Well, don't panic. I guess that's the first thing to say. Don't panic. Recover from the shock. You're anxious, you're scared, but you're going to be okay. You've got this. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a 4-step process to handle this new pack that you have that has more members than you had before. But before we go to that, I want to go to my first slide, which is what a pack in my neighborhood does, pack 275. And it used the screenshot here as a recruiting handout. And as you can, and I want to point this out for a couple of reasons. They handed this out, and this flyer wound up resulting in incredible growth of the pack. Page 1, you can see it has some pictures, but it also has contact information for the leaders, questions on the top of page 2. It's got the pack calendar. But what I really want to point out is the QR codes at the bottom left and right corner of page 2. The new family can just take the picture of that QR code. They can register directly with the council, and the QR code on the right gives all the information that the pack needs to go forward with the new family. So it's a specific recruiting page for this particular pack. But Gina, if you want to make that available and people could copy it and update it and make it work for them, we discovered that this flyer really resulted in a tremendous number of new scouts.
I
Okay.
love that call out because looking at this flyer, it's simple. There's really not I mean, it's got a lot of great information on it, but it's not like a graphic designer probably spent weeks and weeks. This seems like something that could be customized for your pack out there. And you guys might already have a template if you're watching this for flyers. But what I also like, I'm not out of the demographic of a new Cub Scout parent, and I see that Facebook link, and I think I'm gonna head there, see what the community's like, see what the posts are like, see what the families involved are like before I ever contact anybody, and just get like a taste of that culture. So I like that a lot. I think that that's something pretty cool to have on there, and it really does show the value of social media. We all know that. We're all watching Facebook Live video right now.
And at the meeting, at the recruiting meeting, the cafeteria at the grade school was packed. And before people left, there were seven brand new Lion kindergarten Cub Scouts. That presents its own challenge. I'll mention that in just a second.
Well, before I let you go on, I want you to know how much this has resonated with our audience already. We are getting tons of comments. We've got Pack 1910 watching, Troop 601, Pack 84. Rob says they are averaging 30 new scouts per pack in their district. One grew by 70 scouts. Erica says they literally doubled in size there in Albuquerque. Hello, Pack 76. Hello, Pack 33. Pack 33 had 27 scouts last year and now 90 plus this year. Pack 1 just finished their recruitment. They've grown 150%. Nicole says they've had at least 20 new Cub Scouts, and she doesn't even know how they're going to find campgrounds if they get more. 75 and their parents is a lot. Stay tuned, Nicole. Keep watching. We've got resources for you. Marilyn, as a grandmother with grandchildren in scouting, very cool. Erica says they literally doubled in size, 11 scouts to 22. I'll get to more of these comments as we go because I've just scratched the surface. This is a really popular topic. Guys, this may feel overwhelming to you, but to me on this side, this feels so good to see. I mean, it's night and day from, our usual messaging. I'm so glad that this, Sea Scouting is such a great solution to what a lot of families are looking for right now.
And Gina, I expect Cub Scout membership to even expand even faster and with more Cub Scouts because we're out of the bankruptcy, or at least the bankruptcy judge did approve the plan of reorganization. And even before that, last month in August, we were up over 13% membership in Cub Scouts over the previous month last year. Things are happening. I think a number of our packs across the nation are going to be exploding. And that is wonderful, a wonderful problem to have. Okay, so step one, let's welcome all those new parents. Some recruiting events contemplate a parents' meeting later. So if you have your recruiting event, have your parents' meeting date picked out earlier, 10 days, 14 days, but pretty soon. You're going to celebrate and thank everyone who helped promote the pack recruiting event, but your very first action item, the most important thing perhaps, get everyone's contact information, mobile phone. People text all the time these days, so you want that mobile phone number, email address, regular mail address, parents' name, any background on the parents. What do you do? What do you enjoy doing? You may find your CPA, new family member, will wind up in the years to come to be the new pack treasurer. I even would take the name of the family dog if I could get all of that information. So now you're getting all of the information so you can communicate. And right off the bat, I strongly recommend that the pack create a welcoming committee. The welcoming committee really can be all of your returning families. And let these families know that their important job is to make the new families feel welcome. We want the new families to be integrated into the family of the pack. So in this first meeting, you're going to perhaps put all the tiger age kindergartners together with the tiger den leader, and all of the wolf den leaders and the wolf families will be with the second grade wolf den leader. Now, kindergartners are tricky. And my 7 new lions in this particular Cub pack I mentioned earlier don't come with a prepackaged den leader. And so often what you do is you combine the lions with the tigers, who were lions last year, until you can be sure that you have a good lion den leader and be sure that the lions can then go off on their own. But the objective here is to have new families in each den meet the returning members and learn about the den activities from those den leaders. Now, some packs, like the pack that you showed their recruiting flyer, use their first pack meeting of the year as their recruiting event. The new scouts, just as with the other family meeting, are paired with the kids and the families of the same age and of the same grade limit, the same grade. The parents meet. In this particular case, the recruiting event was such that it was the pack meeting. The kids in the different dens went off in the corners, and then right there in the middle, the Cub Scout pack leadership gave the explanation as to what the pack was all about and what they were going to do, and had the handouts to all the parents there in the middle. Then at the end of the meeting, everyone came together. The pack had its closing ceremony, and it turned out to be, as I said, an amazing, amazing recruiting event. Now, regardless of how the pack gets to the first parent meeting, the pack and the den leaders must contact every new family that's coming to the pack and in the den as soon as possible. I am going to give you a statistic that you are just simply not going to believe, because I didn't believe it. The number one reason families leave Cub Scouting is that they are never contacted after they join. Wow. And so you've got to get your communication channels established. In real estate, people will talk about, well, location, location, location for real estate. But for Cub Scouts, I have 3 C's: communicate, communicate, and communicate.
Easy to remember. I want to chime in there and say that stat sticks out to me. It's something we worked really hard on last year, trying to make sure that on the end of the new families, that they sign up for a unit. They know the unit number. They know the unit contact information. They know where they meet. They've got that information. But on the other side, what we're finding is sometimes leaders are afraid to see this explosive growth or to see any growth in their units, in their packs. So they don't contact these new scouts. And there is nothing to fear. Let Cub Chat Mike put you at ease. There's nothing to fear. More families mean more volunteers. That means more people trained to take things off your plate and make just these events even more fun. And don't be afraid. I know Erica says almost all of our new families are lions and tigers with no idea how it all works. Oi. Okay, Erica, I'm taking a second to totally feel your pain. I can understand why that would be frustrating and hard. However, there's opportunities there. Those guys can still volunteer and do a lot to help ease your burden and make it a really fun year.
And Gina, this is where the Welcome Committee can meet with those new lions and tiger parents. The Welcome Committee, remember, should be every member of every family that is returning to the pack from the preceding year. And what happens is, if you're in these pack meetings and you see a family sort of sitting over there by themselves, go over and talk to them. Make sure that they understand that they're welcome, answer any questions they have. And if you can, you have all the wolf parents sit together, or maybe the tiger parents sit together. You want them to get to know each other and develop relationships, because if the families develop relationships, get to know each other, then they're going to enjoy the pack meeting, and they're going to wind up coming back to pack meetings in the future. Okay, so step 2 was to hold your parent meeting. But when your pack goes from 20 families to 70 families, you need more volunteers to help with all of your events. Now, most packs have a monthly pack committee meeting. And at that pack committee meeting, you talk about the upcoming pack meeting events, you pass on information. Consider changing the name of the pack committee meeting. Instead of calling it the PAC committee, call it the parent meeting. And so now here's a parent meeting, and it's going to be before the PAC meeting. And hopefully you want to encourage your new families as well as your old to come to that meeting and become more involved with the PAC. Always consider a venue where all the families can attend. Some PACs I know meet in a pizza parlor, and they bring brothers and sisters, and part of the family will sit over on the side and have the pizza dinner while the PAC family meeting goes on, and the individuals and family members talk about how they're going to run the PAC for the next period of weeks or months. And here's something: when you run a parent meeting, start on time, end on time, and don't let it drag on for a long time. I want to hold all of my meetings to an hour. Sometimes I'll let them go for an hour and 15 minutes. But if it goes longer than that, you just have to stop. Parents will not come back to meetings that don't seem well organized and that wander on and on. I'll say to someone during the middle of the meeting, look, let's talk about this particular point you want to raise after the meeting, or let's not go down this rabbit trail now. Let's talk about that later. So how you run the meeting is very important, and you want to worry about how that fits together.
So before we keep going, I have a couple comments I want to get to, and an idea that I had heard over the last few years. And also, I want to say thank you. I think last Cub Chat Live we were on together, you mentioned you call the committee meeting the parent meeting. And I'm embarrassed to say I'm on a committee. I'm on a crew committee, and I didn't know that that's what it could be. I didn't understand what it was exactly. I just knew that I was asked to be on it, and I'm on it. Now it makes a lot of sense to me. Now I can move on to the jargon of calling it a committee, but I like breaking that down for new families and saying it's a parent meeting. We need all of your input. So I really like that. I like what you're saying about thinking about the whole family being there. You might have a couple kids who are in your PAC and a couple kids who are too young, but they're going to be there with their parents. I've heard of people, printing, if there's one pagers you're bringing out, printing like puzzles, word searches, coloring pages on the other side of those flyers so that you can hand a couple to the kids to color or whatever. Just do something depending on where you're meeting. Love the pizza parlor. That's always a big treat for kids, young kids. I mean, I think they feel like they win the lottery every time they find out they're going to have pizza. And then I want to go back. We're jumping back just a tick. Somebody said, it's a question. How do you communicate with your dens? Group text limit is 20 numbers. I have 15 kids in my den and 30 plus numbers for moms and dads. Matt, that's a really good question. Mike might have some ideas for you, but my suggestion is to try something like, if you have a bunch of mixed cell phone services, I know it can be hard to get a bunch in a group text. I would not forget texting people individually, but GroupMe works, WhatsApp works. You can send bigger group messages that way. And then Anthony makes the clutch suggestion. Scoutbook has a texting feature. Until you get everyone onboarded, we would just create small text groups based on dens. So you can just kind of copy and paste the same message into different groups. I think that's great. April also says they stick with Scoutbook. I'm glad that question was posed.
And it really doesn't make any difference how you communicate. It's just you want to communicate. You don't want to overwhelm new families, and you want to avoid Cub Scout jargon. But basically, you want to get all the information to them as you possibly can. Now, some PACs have a welcome packet. Some PACs have welcome letters that they send out. But pretty soon, you want to send out the PAC calendar, probably the PAC roster, probably. And up on the screen now, Gina, if you would put the Cub Scout badges of rank requirement. This is a form that was recently developed, and I think Cub Chat Live introduced to this form by Audrey Oakes a number of sessions ago. But all of the ranks and the grade level are on this particular form, and the required adventures that the den is going to complete. This is a wonderful sheet to hand out. There is a QR code that you can get access to that form. This is fairly new, and I strongly recommend that as you send out and communicate with your PAC, that this form is one that you might want to consider. Now, in the communications area, my grandson's pack has actually formalized an individual person to be the pack communicator. Here's one person who's responsible for drafting and sending out all of the pack communications, reminders. This is coming up. That's coming up. In the past, we discovered that if you left it up to one or two or three or four individuals, sometimes the announcement didn't get out on time. Sometimes it didn't include everything. So if we have one person that is responsible for getting out information to the new families and the old families, that has worked very, very well for this pack.
That's resonating with our audience. April even says, what? That's amazing. New member coordinators are invaluable. Totally agree. Similar idea for like a communication officer, whatever you want to call it. I like, just I don't know, in charge of whatever would work for your pack for the title. You could get creative with that. Shout out to pack 399. And Rachel also suggests Slack as a messaging platform. And I just wanted to say, I love Slack. I think that's a great idea. But again, definitely check out Scout Book. And Catherine says, you said something that hit her. Yes, parents who have friends and feel welcome are parents who will keep their kids in scouting. Gotta agree. It can be fun for the parents too. It should be.
Well, and we say Cub Scouting is where parents can have fun with their kids and with their contemporaries. Okay, so now we have this pool of new families. All of them are potential volunteers. And as I've always said, when I was a Cub Scout master, if everyone volunteers and does a little, no one needs to do too much. So the thought is everyone has to do something. Now, there is a wonderful and excellent roundtable presentation titled Getting Parents Involved. And there is the citation to it, the link. Anthony Berger is the Scout professional who handled that, who makes that particular presentation. I looked at it just a couple of days ago. It is excellent, and I strongly recommend it to you. One of the things that the presentation talks about is focusing on tasks, not positions, but tasks. Now, when you want to have volunteers and people to help you, it's always best to ask the parent for help by having a face-to-face conversation. But that isn't always possible, and sometimes you want to reach a larger audience first. And so one technique that I've mentioned in the past, and one technique that is mentioned in this particular roundtable video, is the Post-it notes on a board. In other words, you take the Post-it notes and you list all possible volunteer opportunities on individual notes, and you put these notes up on the board. So, for example, assist with the blue and gold event, help set up the Pinewood Derby track, or keep at the Pinewood Derby, be the individual, the volunteer that keeps score, or clean up after the rocket launch. Just list all of the tasks, not positions, but list the tasks. Don't say, be in charge of the blue and gold banquet. No, no, no. I did that one year, and nobody would take the ones that said be in charge of. But everyone that said help with this or help with that, that was okay. Keep track of who took each one of the Post-it notes and be flexible. There will be a time when a particular volunteer takes a Post-it note, volunteers for a particular task, but just can't, for whatever reason, the situation changes and can't do it. So be flexible in that respect and follow up. Follow up with text messages when the event gets closer. Don't forget you volunteered to help set up the Pinewood Derby track. It's coming, and letting the individual volunteer know that they remind them that they did volunteer and that you're ready to count on them. Okay.
I think that it seems like the more effort, so if you're leading a pack, the more effort you put into this initial parent meeting, You've broken down tasks as granularly as you can. You've written them on sticky notes. You're going to put them on a board behind you and ask you, the parents who are attending, to take one or take two, depending on how many each would need to get this all done. So it's a good amount of prep work. We should set you up for a year where you have a lot delegated. You have a lot cleaner plate, and it should make you hopefully not afraid of having more scouts in your pack. I'm thinking of something that Anthony always says, which is nobody wants to play for a losing team. We all want to play for a winning team. And once these packs grow and there's more numbers in them, that is a winning team. It's just kind of amazing how things fall into place when there are more people, there's more accountability. The kids are having more fun because they're seeing more friends. It's really a beautiful evolution, I think.
Gina, I couldn't agree more. But to summarize right now, we've had two of our steps: welcoming the new pack parents, and step 2, conducting the parent meetings. So now let's go to step 3, because what's happening is you've got your new parents. They're understanding what's going on. They're going to be coming to the pack meetings with their scout. Now you need to focus on having step 3, really high quality pack meetings. When you go from 20 families to 70 families, you need to up your game. And so this is the time to make a list of really spectacular pack meetings that you can have your new families and of course returning families attend. One of my grandson's favorite pack meeting is with our local Liberty Wildlife here in the greater Phoenix area. This organization rescues injured birds. It nurtures them back to health, and then if they can't be released back into the wild, they retain them and protect them and take care of them, and they give programs around them. So on the picture here is a picture from the last pack meeting last year where Liberty Wildlife came. That is Sedona, the eagle, and of course we've had Darwin and Snickers, the owl, Honey the hawk, Vito the falcon, all of these birds, and of course the presenters are fabulous. And then at the end of the presentation, everyone gets their picture taken with the bird they want, if they want. And so here are two young, the scout on the right is a scout, and then there's the brother on the left, and they're having their picture taken with the eagle. And the parents love to have their picture taken with the owl or the bird, the eagle.
That's also a cool picture. Yeah.
So, but the point is, this is an example of a knock your socks off pack meeting where you're going to find the parents leaving and saying, wow, that was fabulous. And it was worthwhile. And they're going to want to come back to the next pack meeting. Now, during these pack meetings, we've still got our welcoming committee. And the welcoming committee should work the room, keep talking to new parents, make sure they're feeling comfortable, that they feel welcome, that they have any questions. You want the parents to go home, especially the new parents, to say, wow, I'm part of this. It's really working well.
I love that. Guys, keep these comments coming about letting us know if your pack is growing. You said something that resonated with April. She says, if you have your calendar planned and the information shared and stored for future leaders, it helps them know they don't have to recreate the wheel, which makes the job seem much less intimidating. Totally agree. If you've been a leader, even just for a year, you know what the calendar of events looks like. You've hopefully created your calendar, and you can just break it out for these new parents to see, like, I can make a blue and gold cake. I can help with Pinewood Derby. I can plan this one den meeting. Like it just seems doable. Rob says, I was going to say this. Oh, he was going to say, it is the parents of the scouts in those dens that are not the den leader or a pack leader that are responsible for putting together the event. That's right. You'll be able to delegate and use your parents who don't necessarily want to be a leader, lead in little minor ways. And he says he learned this from another pack while he was attending their district roundtable. Once we put this in place, we went from 20% of the parents helping out to 99% of the parents helping out. Also, I think when you have that like really awesome first pack meeting, again, it might take you a little bit more planning on the upfront this one time, but it raises the bar. It kind of sets the standard for what all of the parents are going to put into each little bit that they've volunteered for. This was an exceptional conversation. You really made our audience enthusiastic with this. I want to see if you have anything else to add, to tack on to the end, and see if you might recap all of our steps one more time.
Yes, I can. But on the Knock Your Socks Off pack meeting, you can have the fire department bring out a fire truck. We've had Indian dancers come and give presentations and talk about their dancing. And now I want to talk about step 4. We've got 4 steps. The step 4 is start delegating. A few volunteers keep a pack of 20 families going, but when you've got 70 families, you need lots of help. So delegate, 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 communicate, communicate, communicate. Summarize 4 steps. Step 1, welcome new pack parents. Step 2, have your parents meeting. Get to know the parents, communicate, communicate, communicate. Step 3, up your game with pack meetings. Knock your socks off meetings is what you're looking for. And step 4 is delegate, delegate, delegate. And then next week, Gina, we're going to discuss more long-term growth plans to help the pack continue to grow.
Yes, so more on this fabulous topic next week, but you guys could have, hopefully you've taken away something that's going to help you kick off your year in a big way, in a wonderful way. We love to see these packs growing. We hope that your pack will continue to grow. If you haven't experienced this kind of growth yet, we're letting you know it's out there. You can tap into it. We will try to provide some resources for flyers like Cub Chat Mike shared at the top of the show coming up. So stay tuned to our pages. We'll let you know more about that. You can view past episodes where we talk about some of these tactics for engaging leaders, engaging new leaders, onboarding new Cub Scouts at scoutingmagazine.org/Cub Chat Live. And then, I think just go ahead and mark in your calendar to come back next week at 2 p.m. for Cub Chat Live.
And now, and Gina, as we finish up, here's a dad joke. How are socks like Cub Scouts? How are socks like Cub Scouts? The answer, they come prepared.
Oh, boy.
A pair of socks.
That's good. That's
and what do you call a Cub Scout holding a Frisbee? What do you call a Cub Scout holding a Frisbee? A cup and saucer.
Where do these come from? They're Scout specific.
Anyway, this was a wonderful session. Thank you for your help. You've got a pack that's exploding. Now what? We've hopefully given some ideas. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Thank you.
Thank you, Cub Chat Mike. We'll see everybody next time.